Okay, so monochromatic drawing. If you purchased the pastels that I recommended, you would have this set. If you didn't, you have what I sent you, unless I didn't get your address. But if you only have oil pastels, you can use those. So you'll notice that if I sent you blue, that I also sent you an orange, and that's because orange is the complementary color. It's opposite on the color wheel, and we'll talk more about this as we go on in the semester and with this assignment. But for now, what I want to do is talk about how do you decide what colors you're going to use? What is monochromatic? Sometimes students will think that maybe you can use blue and green because if you mix blue and yellow, you get green, but that's not really monochromatic. You want to stick with blues. So you want to know if they're going to go well together. So I would say these are the only 3 blues from this set. So if you wanted to use blue, and if you have scrap paper in the packet I sent you, if you don't have scrap paper, it's either because I forgot to put it in your bag. It was something I did at the end just to get everything to the maximum weight that I was paying for. You can do this on any paper, just, regular paper like that. Just what you want to do is see what color it is. So this, I thought about having, once you decided to note what color you're using by this number. But the way I use pastels, that number is going to be gone pretty quick and you're not going to be able to identify it. And they're pretty easy to identify just by putting it down and seeing if it's the color you're looking for. So this is kind of a bluish green, and this is kind of a bluish green. So I think these two, if I was going to do a monochromatic drawing, I think I would use these 2 blues. And maybe not this one because it's got too much red towards the red side. But if you wanted to use that, you could. It's up to you. It's still a blue hue. So when we talk about color, the hue is the actual color, where these 3 are blue and yellow. It's always kind of stretched a little. Yellows often can go towards, well, they either go towards the green or towards the orange. This one goes towards the orange and this one goes towards the green. I would really say this is just orange, but that's just the way they package these pastels. They don't really give you a lot of choices in yellow. I would say that would go with orange. So if you wanted to do yellow, these are basically the 2 hues you have. You don't have to use both hues. You can just use one hue and use white and black to darken, or the complementary color to blacken, because the complementary color also darkens colors. So now those would be yellow. So if you were going to do orange, I think that's kind of, I guess that's close enough to orange. I would say these go in the orange range. And you don't really have a strong red. This is the strongest red you have. So this red kind of leans to the blue, and this one leans to the orange, although they're both on the orange side of the spectrum. These are really close. These would go really well together. You could probably add, no, that's orange. I wouldn't add that. So if you're doing red, those are the 2 you would use. You don't have to use both of them. You can just use one if you want. And with orange, I think you have the broadest range here. Although maybe you could use this with yellow. Yes, I think you could use this with yellow. We're going to put that one over there. You could use it with orange also if you wanted. Because it's getting dark, I have a light on, 2 lights on today, and it's getting kind of hot. Anyways, here you could use all 3 of these. So one of the things I wanted to point out, and I didn't do this in the first video I made, but I'm sort of glad it didn't come out because now I can show you this. And I'm going to scan it and put it on the assignment at the end of the assignment because it can help you to see about what value it is, your color. And you can lighten and darken by adding white or black or the complementary color. If you want to use purple, I think that you're just going to have one of these. The purple, although if you're really ambitious and you want purple, you probably could do the red and the blue to sort of have another purple, but I wouldn't really recommend that. I would recommend sticking with just that one purple and adding the complementary color, which is yellow, to darken it, or white to lighten it. So, oh no, the phone. I think I'm gonna ignore the phone and just go make it stop ringing. Okay, so this isn't the exercises. This is just figuring out what color you're going to use. The last colors that we have here that you could use would be green or browns. And I don't really like this color, that olive green, but some of you might find it useful in one of your drawings. So there's that color, green, which is kind of like an olive green, and then there's this more kind of lime green. And I think these go well together, and these go well together. I'm not so sure that goes so well with that. I think that would go better with this. And I think you could even use these 3 fine. But anyways, that's how you're going to want to figure out what colors you're going to use. And don't be concerned if they break, because that's what pastels do. You use them in pieces. Most of the time, artists will draw with pastels like this. And one of the things I want to mention is that for this drawing, you're going to cover your entire page. So you might have only gray pastel paper or some earth tone of the paper left. I'm not sure what shades you have. I don't have that actual pad. I do have some other sample paper that I'll be doing the exercises on. So the exercises that you're going to do, I'm going to say I'm using blue. So whatever color you're going to use the complementary color. And this is just a sheet of copy paper. The hard part is your hands get dirty with these, so you're probably going to have to get up and wash your hands several times. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to stick with these 2 blues that are more like on the blue-green range. So, and if you use more colors, you're going to want to do this for each of your colors. You're going to take your blue and you're going to put it down. So now, what happens if I add my other blue to it? And I blend them. You can get another color that way. So that's the original color, that's that original color, and this is the darker. This is the original one of these. So you can get colors that way. But also, we'll go back to our original, this one. You can change this one by using your white. to lighten it. So if you blend, I have a chamois, I guess I'll use my chamois, although I like using my fingers better, but my fingers are dirty. I can blend that. So I lightened it. I can have really light blue. It's already pretty light, but I can make it even lighter by adding white to it. If you rub it too hard, you're going to probably rub most of it off. So it's kind of just, sometimes it's good to just let it blend on its own. Then another thing you can do is darken it. You can take this, and the easy thing to do is to take your black and add some black, and you can darken it that way. You can also say, I like that it's darker, but I don't like the way it looks, and you could put more blue on top. So you can get that color, you can get that color, these three colors, and you can also, some people just don't like using black. I kind of am one of those people. I prefer using the complementary color to darken. The complementary color to blue is yellow, because blue sits opposite yellow on the color wheel. So I'm gonna try to get some of this pastel off my hands. I'm gonna try using this yellow first and see what it does with this blue. Of course, no. Orange is opposite the color wheel, not yellow. I'm sorry, it's a long day. So I'm gonna just scrap that, start over. I'll draw a color wheel, not with colors, but just with the words of colors, and I'll post it so that you can see the complementary colors if you don't know complementary colors. But using orange should darken this color. So I'm thinking that, and you know, not all the oranges are going to work that way, and that's why you're doing this exercise sheet, to see which orange should I use to darken this blue. And I think, because you don't want it to end up looking orange, you just want the blue to be darker. So it's this darker orange that you're going to use to darken this lighter blue. So you have that color. You could use that color too. That's with this one, although I would put more blue on it. And you can see how it's changed it from its original nature, which is more intense and brilliant. Because when you add the complementary color, what you're basically doing is dulling down the color. So that's your light blue. Now you're going to do an exercise with your dark blue that you're using. And that's not the one I was using. I was using this one and this one. So this isn't a very dark blue. So, oh, I did use the other blue. I'm sorry. This is too red. That's why you have to really put them down on paper. Okay, wrong again. And I'm going to leave this because it's a process. You make mistakes. So this was my other blue. And because it leans towards the green. I don't know how the color is going to show up, but what I'm looking at, and I'm starting to talk about it because it's going to be in our watercolor exercises as well, that this blue leans to the red. See how it's kind of purplish? And this one leans to the yellow. It's kind of greenish. So that's my colors. So we already know what it looks like if I add this because I did that here. What I really want to know is what it's going to do if I add white. So that's a pretty nice color. That gives me another additional blue. It's lighter but it's not that quite that shade. It's close though. And then I'm going to try adding black to it and see what happens if I add the black. And I don't add too much black. I just kind of let it ride over the top, because black is a really bully color. It's intense and it'll just take over. Now that's a nice color using black. It doesn't feel as dead as sometimes when you add black. It kind of deadens colors. But it actually works okay with this blue. But let's see if we add the complementary oranges. So I'm going to start out by adding, I'm going to be consistent and start out by using the light orange on there. And I think you can see here how this gets maybe not darker because we already have a pretty dark color, but it changes its value. It's darker valued than this. And that's going to be tricky. It's more complexity. You know, it's not so simple anymore. But if you think about it, maybe this is closer to this value and this is closer to this value. Let's try adding the darker orange, because there's not a lot of difference between those values. Can we get this dark orange even darker? I mean, dark blue even darker with the dark orange? I think so. They look pretty much the same. I think that's because this is already a pretty dark blue. But you can see here you have a huge range already of values, and you can also use black directly on there and white directly on there. I'm going to go ahead and do one more color just for reference. Maybe what I'll do is, if you're using yellow, we'll do one of the yellows. If you're using yellow, the complementary color, well, let's use both yellows so that we can see what we get when we mix them. So here you have the original yellow and this original yellow, and then here where the two yellows are mixed. Yellow is a tricky color, and this color is taking over this lighter valued yellow. And this is easier to see the different values. Maybe this is this value and this is this value, maybe even a little lighter. No, I don't think so. Anyways, now what if we add black to this? You can see how it's darkened it, and it does look kind of black, but that's okay. That's a good value to use. What if we lighten it with white? So you can get that. But mostly I wanted to show you that purple, where's my purple? Purple is the color that you would use, here it is, as the complementary to yellow. I should have put my yellow down first. That looks too purple. But if you blend it, it goes kind of to a gray. Let's put more yellow on it. you can see how it is going to gray, and that's because yellow and purple are complementary colors. So that's the value that you could use. Let's try adding the other, oh well, I only have one purple. Let's try adding the purple to the other yellow. And that becomes a more grayish yellow. Sometimes it takes a couple of applications. And that's why pastel drawing is about layering your colors. Another thing about your drawing is that you're going to want to cover the entire page. This is getting a little bit messy, so I think I'm gonna end this video now and do another video with a little demo. Okay, I think that's it. I think there was something else I wanted to say. Let me look at my notes. Oh, yes. I just wanted to say that if you want to do, and this is really dusty, so you might want to keep a wet rag and I'll get up and wash your hands every now and then. I don't want to go do that because it'll take the video, it'll make it be longer. What you can do if you want, when you're developing your drawing, you can use multiple frames, and I mentioned that, and I just kind of wanted to show you what I mean by that. So multiple frames is like, instead of doing a drawing, say I was doing a landscape and I had some ground with a lake and some trees back here and sky. Well, that's a single frame. If you wanted to maybe tell a story, you can do multiple frames. And you don't want to leave a lot of the white of the page. You just want to leave enough space between your frames so that they become independent. And so this is what multiple frames is, when you just have, it's kind of like you're probably used to seeing cartoons in multiple frames, and they don't all have to be the same size. So sometimes people want to tell a story, a narrative image, and so it's okay to use multiple frames. All right, I'm going to end this video now, and I'm going to do another video with a little demo. A quick demo, because I'm not going to do a formal completed drawing because it would take too long, and I haven't really practiced editing. Here comes Speedo. All right, bye.